So welcome back to the carving corner. Kind of a mess over here. I've got a lot of stuff that I got to clean up from a project that I was doing yesterday. And here it is. This is what I carved yesterday, just to give you an idea. And this was a block of 2 by 2 inch basswood. And in this case I chose to just carve the whole thing in one piece. And he's going to be standing on a sort of like a little gift box. I'm going to do red, green, red, green, red throughout the base, and I'll do something for the top. I don't know what color yet for the top, but then I'm going to do like snowflakes in each one of these little panels. He's going to have the typical black boots, he's going to have the white fur trim, the red suit, and he's got kind of a curly beard is how it turned out. But it's not real easy to get in here and carve these parts though. You know, I use a V-gouge to get in here and kind of clean it up a little bit, but this is kind of a difficult thing, you know, when you're working with the tools to kind of get the angle just right. And I've got another project coming up that I'm going to show you another way to get around that, which is kind of interesting, and it looks really good and clean when it's done. But this is a typical Santa. That was yesterday's project. So today I wanted to talk about some of this cottonwood bark. You can buy this stuff on eBay, and it's not the cheapest thing in the world. And sometimes it comes and it's got all sorts of grub and stuff on it. But the thing that you want to do, if you do buy this stuff on eBay, make sure that you get some stuff that you can carve, you know. It's got to be thick down here so that you've got enough room to clean off all of this. Well, not all of it, but a lot of this bark has got to come off. And what I'd like to do is when I carve these things, I kind of leave a little bit of a rustic edge down here at the base. So in my view, I'm going to be taking this all the way back down into this area, right, to get a carving face out of it. Sometimes I wonder how they pick these things because, you know, if you're carving a Santa face, that face is going to be right about here. You need the depth to do it. And some of this stuff is kind of flaky, so you got to get into some good bark before you can actually expect it to hold any detail. So this is what's coming up. He's going to turn into a Santa. It's not a big project. If you've got difficulty carving, this is really a good choice because it's a heck of a lot softer, and you can get in there with the chisels, and you're not going to dull the chisels up on this stuff. And it's a softer wood. Okay, so I've got everything all honed. This is a Pfeil gouge. It's a number 7 and it's an inch wide. That's what I use to clean these up. And pay no attention to the dogs in the background. They're pretty active today. But generally what you want to do is just start cleaning this thing up. You can see I'm going to have to get all this stuff out of the way so there's no science to it. But you got to get into the good wood. Look at this stuff, just crumbles away. So when you're doing this, you basically got to think about what you're going to carve out of what you got. That's what makes these pieces interesting. You got to be looking at it thinking, what am I going to do with this piece of wood? Each one, of course, is different. So you just have to, you can't carve this loose stuff, so it's all got to go. All right, what am I going to do with this? Okay, I can already see, grab my pencil. I can already see something taking effect here, so we're going to have a Santa that's going to have a hat like this. I don't know, the brim might be up here. And I'm going to try to bring this to a ball on the top, and the face of the Santa is going to be in here, which leaves a question as to what I'm going to do with this little chunk in here. Every piece is a little mystery that you got to solve. But the hat's going to go like this. I always do it a little bit like it's hanging on the back of the head. So the hat's going to do something like this. Pencil it in. You can always erase it out if you don't want it. Easy to work with. So you can see what's going to happen here. Something like that. I'm going to have to get a little bit deeper in here because when I start to do the eyes and beard and all this, this is going to be a problem. I'm going to need some good wood to kind of carve into. This is not going to work. So I'm going to have to go a little deeper. Try to get, there we go, see? Didn't have to go very far. Same thing in here. You can't carve this crumbly stuff. So this stuff is real easy to carve though. I don't know, I'm going to need the side of the head in here. That could end up being a problem, so I guess I'm just going to have to go a little more narrow than I wanted to, but that's the way it is. There we go. You got to start with a big piece because when you get done taking it all down, sometimes there's not much left. Okay, it's looking a little better. And you can see, just draw back the lines for the hat. Kind of like this. The other thing I do when I carve is I kind of use the waterfall concept. That's just what I call it. But I establish the lines first for the brim. Worry about the top line later. Then I start to do the face. And then I do the mustache. Then I do the beard. It all hinges on the face. The face guides the carving in my view. So first thing is the brim. And I'm just going to use this gouge to carve that out. Again, this is a Pfeil, P-F-E-I-L gouge. And I'm just going to take that out. This happens to be a number 12. So that's what I'm starting with, and I'm going to show you what that looks like as I continue. But here's the piece that I carved the other day. Here's the problem. I just want to, this is getting off the track a little. This is a piece of white cedar, and didn't look like this when I carved him, but look at him now. He's got a splitting headache. See what happened? It doesn't help that it's the middle of winter and, you know, I've got the humidifiers running, but it's still only about 18% humidity. So what happened was, carving this out, I lost enough fibers. There's enough pressure on this thing. It wants to split anyway. So when I removed some of this wood, it just said, all right, we're going to split. And that's what it did. But that's actually, I don't know, that's part of the deal. It's not going to get any deeper, wider. And I'm just going to paint it up. But that is the problem. When you carve white cedar, that's what you're going to run into. It's a great wood to carve with. I know a lot of people like it, but there is this little problem of splitting, especially when you're carving something, you know, that's basically a fence post. So He just became a character Santa. All right, so here's what I'm going to do with this guy. I'm just going to go ahead and carve him out right here while you're watching. So this is what you do. Again, using that waterfall concept. And you just kind of, doesn't have to be perfect at this stage. I mean, we'll clean it up. Clean it up later. That's not too hard. And here comes that stop cut again. I talked about that the other day. I use the V-gouge to do the same thing basically, but put a little pressure on it, not much. Keep your hands out of the way. Roll it around, roll the wood, do a stop cut. This stuff is easy carving. Okay, now I've got Flexcut. It's about a 3/4 inch. Kind of like not a real big sweep on this gouge. And I'm just going to work into that stop cut that I made, just like this. This stuff is, if you've got any trouble carving, boy, you got to get some of this cottonwood bark. It does not get any easier to carve than this. You just won't find anything easier. Kind of even it up a little bit. Because you're working with the wood and what they gave you, these things have got tons of character in them. These carvings on the cottonwood bark. These things have got tons of character. That's all you're doing here is just, you know, we're going for a face, right? So anything that doesn't fit, and you're always looking at symmetry. So I can get some of this cruddy wood out of the way in trying to achieve some symmetry. Flip this gouge over, pinch that out of the way. So that's all I'm doing here is I'm using that stop cut just like that. Look at how easy this comes out. So I'm going to go for some symmetry here. I'm going to work on getting this out, get a face that's something I can work with here. So I'm going to start taking some of this stuff off, you know,